Okay, we're going to start a little mini unit this week on nationalism. Nationalism is the belief that people's loyalty shouldn't be to a king or an empire, but to a nation of people with whom they share a common bond of history and culture. Nationalism gained popularity after all the changes we've just been talking about, with Napoleon conquering large areas in Europe and with the Congress of Vienna shifting lands around and rearranging the geography after Napoleon was gone. People felt like they didn't want to be a part of an empire just because someone else said so, but because they felt a bond with them. The 6 common things that bond a nation of people are culture, history, language, religion, nationality, and territory. A nation is a group of people bonded by any of those 6 traits. When a nation gains its own independent government, it becomes known as a nation-state. In 1815, right when Napoleon was exiled for the final time, only France, Great Britain, and Spain were considered nation-states. The rest of Europe were large empires. There's 2 types of nationalism that can happen. One is unifying, when people who are politically divided or separated, but culturally similar and bonded, merge or come together. Then there's separating nationalism, when a culturally distinct group resists being a part of or being added to a large empire, or breaks away from a large empire that they were a part of. One example is Greece. They were the first country to win self-rule during this nationalist period. They had been a part of the Ottoman Empire, but they had a strong ancient history and culture that made them feel distinct and different from the rest of the Ottomans, who were Turks. Inspired by the nationalist movement, they demanded independence and rebelled against the Ottomans in 1821. They were supported by a lot of different countries in Europe and the Americas because of the Renaissance and because of the love a lot of these European countries felt for Greek culture and history. With that help, the Greeks won independence in 1830. Another example is Germany. German people were unified by a common culture, language, and history, but separated into many different states, as you can see in this map above. All the different colors are different German states. This beige color up here was Prussia. That was the largest and most powerful of the German states. And they wanted to lead a unification process. The Prime Minister of Prussia had one of the best militaries in Europe, and he used his military to pick fights with other countries like Austria and France, defeat them in a war, and then take a state that they may have had a little bit of power or influence over from them and make it a part of this new Germany, which you'll see down here in this new map of the German Empire. Another example is Italy. Italy was also separated into many different states, as you can see in this top left map. People in Italy were bonded by a common language, a common culture, their religion of Catholicism, and a common history. The different nationalist leaders in Italy used diplomacy to unite the northern states and then wars to unite the southern states. And they united all the different states together under one king in the year 1870. The result of the nationalist movements that occurred in the 1870s is that there were more nation states, as you can see on this map. Remember, we said in 1815 it was just Great Britain, France, and Spain. And now you see other nation states of Belgium, Germany, the Netherlands, Italy, Switzerland, and Austria-Hungary. It also shifted the power in Europe. Great Britain and Germany were now the most powerful nations in Europe. And what you'll see is all of this nationalism creates this pride and a desire to show off to the rest of the world, which you'll see end up being a cause for World War I. What I'd like you to do now is pull out your notebook and complete the following in your notes. You're going to put the definitions for nationalism, nation, and nation-state in your notes by going back to the earlier slides. And for each example given, Greece, Germany, and Italy, identify what type of nationalism is, unifying or separating, and explain why. Compare the two different maps, the one on slide 7 that we just looked at with the earlier map on slide 2. How would you describe the impact nationalism had upon Europe geographically? Think of a word to describe the change, if you can. You're going to list and describe the 6 bonds of a nation in your notes. That's that colorful wheel in one of the earlier slides. Then think about those 6 bonds. Which of the 6 bonds do Americans share? Explain what you think. And which of the 6 bonds do the Americans not share? And also explain that answer. And then think about it from our school's perspective. Is Franklin High School a nation? Is it a nation state? And explain your answers. Thank you.